Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, guys. Celtic Warband here, and welcome back to another battle in Rome 2 Total War. In today's battle, the successor kingdoms of Baktria and the Seleucids have united and plan to expand their dominion to the west. The fertile lands of Egypt seem ripe for the taking. With mercenaries from the Suebi and Tylis joining their ranks, the huge host invades Egypt. Sensing this impending invasion, Egypt sends delegations to both Rome and Saba, pleading for help. Saba arrives first, followed by an army from Rome and mercenaries from the Boii tribe. Now Egypt has the strength it needs to defend their homeland, but there's just one problem. Among the ranks of the invaders is a huge host of pikemen, over 2,700 of them. How will Egypt and their allies contend with the famed phalanx? Let's go ahead and find out. We'll begin the battle by taking a look at the allied armies first, and the first army I do want to take a look at is the army of Egypt itself, commanded by Elephantos, and it's a pretty solid army here. It's deployed more towards the center with their allies on the wings. So in the front lines here, we've got a few units of Nubian bowmen. And then for the cream of the crop, they've got a lot of thorax swordsmen here in the front lines, very staple infantry. He's got, I believe, 5 units of them. And then right behind that for his general, we've got the royal thorax swordsmen and a Galatian royal guard. We've also got a unit of African elephants, some citizen cavalry, and he's kind of got a couple other units scattered in and around the rest of the allies. We've got some Galatian swordsmen, some Egyptian infantry. He's even got some more citizen cavalry on this flank. And then over here, he's actually got a unit of elephants and another citizen cavalry. The next army we'll take a look at is Saba, and Saba is commanded by Pyrrhus, or Pyrrhus, depending on how you want to pronounce it, and he's spread out pretty much the entire length of the other 3 armies, so it looks like he is going to play a more supportive role here. In the front lines, we've got a lot of the mercenary Mascat marauders. He's got quite a few of them. He's got some good cavalry too. We've got some royal camel archers here. We've got Marib Royal Guard. We have some of the Royal Camel Archers back in this area. That is his general's bodyguard as well. We have some Desert Chariots. He's got one here, and he's got one way over there on the far other side of the battlefield. For the rest of his units, I think more Royal Camel Archers. We've got some Noble Swordsmen here, some Desert Heavy Lancers. And he's got a couple units of archers on foot, some tribespeople, more of the Noble Swords there. And over here in behind my lines, actually, we've got some of the mercenary Mascat marauders once again, so 3 more units of them, and another unit of noble swordsmen. Pretty much in the dead center, though, we have my army as the Romans, and I really played to the Roman strengths. You can see that I brought a good amount of staple infantry. I have them deployed with Hastati on either wing, so totaling 2. And then I have 3 units of legionary cohorts towards the middle, but that's on both sides, so totaling 6. And then I have a very solid center of veteran legionaries. I believe I brought 3 of them. In behind there, I've got 3 units of auxiliary Syrian archers, 2 units of auxiliary African war elephants, 1 legatus as my general, and then I've got 3 units of cheap equite cavalry. The final army here is the Boii, commanded by Premisal, and he's got a massive line here. It's going to be hard to see what he's actually got, but it is a lot of Boii boys. We've got axe warriors in here, we've got heavy horse, Celtic slingers, more axe warriors, sword followers, levy freemen. The whole host of the Boii tribe is here. I think he's even got... did I say sword? Oh, yeah, there it is. He's got some Oathsworn even in the mix. I think he has maybe 2 units of them, possibly 3. I'm not too sure. But that rounds out the allies of Egypt. So let's go ahead and take a look at the enemies. The invading armies and enemies of Egypt are lined up and ready for battle, but we'll begin on the far left flank where Tylis has formed up. Tylis is commanded by Kyle Perry 19, and he's got 2 solid lines of infantry here. He's got his best units in the front, and then some cheaper units in behind that he can use to plug gaps where necessary. But we've got some spear warriors here, some Gallo-Thracian infantry, tribal warriors, Oathsworn, more Gallo-Thracian infantry, more tribal warriors, more Oathsworn. And then in the second line, we have some Levy Freemen and Thracian warriors. And then finally, we've got 2 units of noble horse, 1 being the general. And then the next army to Tylis' right, we have the Seleucids, commanded by Mr. President. And the Seleucids have brought a lot of pikemen. I believe he brought 11 units in total. So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 units of basic pikemen in the front lines. We've got some Syrian heavy archers, 4 units of them in behind that. And then we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 units of thorac pikemen. So 11 units of pikemen. That's going to be very, very difficult to deal with. And then we've got a shield bearer unit for his general. He's also got some cavalry over here on the far flank as well. We've got the Ajima cavalry ×2 and 2 camel spearmen units. The next army, obviously close ties to the Seleucids, we have Baktria. Baktria is commanded by Zuru Kamilkura, I hope is how you pronounce your name. We've got some elite Persian archers in the front lines, and then he's also brought quite a few pikemen. We've got, I believe, 4 units of basic pikemen, 2 units of thorac pikemen, and then he's actually brought some infantry as well. We've got 2 thorax swords over here, and we've got some thurio spears in behind the pike line. And he's brought some other units over here as well. We've got thurio spears. We've got 2 units of Hellenic cataphracts. Very solid cavalry there. More elite Persian archers there. And mercenary Syrian horse archers in reserve. And then the final enemy army here, the Suebi. Suebi being commanded by Irvan 12. He's brought about a half and half, I'd say. 50% infantry, 50% cavalry. We've got a lot of club levy. We've got the club levy spam going on over here. We've also got some sword masters in the second line. We've got a few units of spear wall. And then we have, I believe, 3 units of noble riders, and then a 4th noble rider as the general. And then we've got a unit of Germanic scout riders as well. So very, very large armies, I believe over 20,000 men participating in this battle. But let's go ahead and let the bloodshed begin. Alright guys, welcome to the battlefield, and we're starting the battle inside the tactical overview. This is something that I might actually start doing at the beginning of my battles, just to give you guys an overview of what the battlefield actually looks like, instead of jumping right into a formed battle line. So you can see over here on the right hand flank, we've actually got Tylis with their tribal warriors moving up. They're going to be facing off directly against the Boii tribe, which is very fitting, a nice barbarian versus barbarian grudge match there. You can see over on this flank, we've got Baktria and Suebi pushing extremely heavily over on our left-hand flank, their right-hand flank. We do have most of the Saban forces over on this side, and we will see some of the Egyptian forces filtering over there, but it looks like this flank is definitely going to outnumber our left flank here. In the center, we have the combined Egyptian and Roman forces, which will be pushing against the Seleucids, but I've got most of my cavalry. In fact, we all kind of have most of our cavalry over on this right-hand flank. I think during the beginning phases of this battle, I had seen how much of a stack the Suebi and the Bactrians have pushed on this flank on the left, so we really wanted to double down on the right. So I was speaking to Premisal during this battle, and we were like, hey, let's just really try and destroy Tylis as quickly as we can, because we're probably going to end up losing Saba on our left-hand flank, and then at least that way it will be a 3v3 instead of a 3v4. But anyways, now that you guys kind of have an idea of where everything is situated, let's go ahead and get to the battle. Alright guys, just as we suspected, the Suebian cavalry has pushed very heavily and has already engaged with the Saban cavalry on our left-hand flank. You can see that most of the Saban cavalry has been engaged now by the Suebian cavalry. We've got the noble riders over here, we've got 2 others over in this section, and you can see that we also have some help from Bactrian mercenary Scythian horse archers, which are helping to push away the royal camel archers of Saba. In the center over here, we've got all of the club levy quickly moving forwards to engage with the Saban noble swordsmen. You can even see that some of the mercenary Masgats have been engaged in melee in this small tree line here, with more reinforcements pouring in by the second. So yes, this is a big worry over here. I just have it in slow motion because it's a 15-minute battle, and we have a lot to cover here. But if we zoom out, you can see that none of us have engaged except for the Suebi and the Sabans. It actually began extremely quickly. The Saban player was very aggressive, and his aggression is actually paying off. You can see the desert chariots are already breaking. We do thankfully have some of the mercenary Muscat marauders engaged in melee to just help try and save the very expensive and very surrounded desert heavy lancers. It looks like the Suebian noble rider general is disengaging as well. But this is in very much favor of the Suebi at this time. You can see even the noble swordsmen, the club levy, they're very even over here. And there is a lot more club levy than there is Saban infantry. But looks like we do have some citizen cavalry coming over here. This would be a very big help to the Sabans. I don't know if it's Sabans, because it's Saba. Sabians? I'm not exactly sure. But yes, very, very nice charge by that citizen cavalry. Very open over here. It looks like Baktria just really didn't have anything to stop that with. We do have the Swordmasters, though, and that Pila is going to do a lot of damage to that Citizen Cavalry as it tries to disengage. But let's quickly take a look over here, because we do have some back and forth between the Tylis Raiding Horsemen and my Equites. I did bring them forwards to try and push off the Syrian heavy archers. They did have 4 archers and I only had 3. You can see that I am going to move on in and try and push them away. But that pike line has formed, and Mr. President, playing as the Seleucids, he is well aware of what I plan to do. We've even got some of the infantry from Tylis moving forwards here. We've got some spear warriors making sure that those Syrian heavy archers can make it behind the pike line. We also have a massive line forming here of the Tylis infantry. Look how epic this is. In fact, let's put this into the ultra cinematic mode as we move down the line. Oh, we've got one random dude here. Oh, he's already dead. That is very unfortunate. But yes, Premisal is over here playing as the Boii. The Boii tribe is a very powerful tribe, but then again, so is Tylis. So we'll see just how strong either tribe is, and also who comes out on top in this engagement. Look at this too, we've also got some cavalry breaking through the infantry rank. We've got the Pila being thrown there. Oh, that really hitting hard into the heavy horse there, but they still got a relatively decent charge. Also, this is a good plan for Premisal because he kind of stopped a few of those units from throwing Pila into his infantry, which will allow him to push on in unimpeded. Not so lucky over here, though. It looks like the units are trading javelin fire. Over here, I'm being a lot more cautious, though. I'm moving my Romans forwards, but I realize that I'm going to handle the brunt of the pikes. You can see I've got all of these pikes here to contend with. Even where I've got my cavalry over here, there's a lot of pikes over here on this side, and then just coming through the trees, we have the Thorac pikemen, the cream of the crop of the Seleucid ranks. And to boot, I'm also having to fight the Gallo-Thracian infantry and tribal warriors that are moving to engage my units here. It was very unfortunate for me and very smart for the Tylis player as well. I'm wasting my Pila, unbeknownst to me, against the infantry when I much rather would have saved it for the pikemen. Moving my units slowly over here, but yeah, it's in slow motion because everything is kicking off here. You can see that it's actually relatively even over here, which is surprising. The infantry side, that is, but over here, the Saban ranks of cavalry have kind of broken. We've got one unit of mercenary Muscat marauders that are being surrounded, and all we've got over on this flank are some Royal Camel Archers. You can see that most of the Saban infantry has been engaged already, and now the Egyptians are not sure what to do. You can see that they're actually pulling back completely here, and that leaves my flank open quite a lot. So that's why I'm being so cautious here, not throwing my units into this massive pike line. But over here, let's take a look at what's going on against, between Tylis and the Boii. We've even got more Pila coming down here as the battle line forms. I will put this onto play eventually, but I wanted to make sure that this was a really nice cinematic battle for you and that I wasn't running around trying to tell you guys what was going on. At least this way I can kind of relax, and then once most of the battle lines have formed, we can put it onto play and have some regular speed. But yes, okay, so we do have the noble horse pulling back there, which is good. I think the other one, is it still kicking around? I think it is. Yeah, so I don't know if he lost really that much in that engagement. But yeah, here we go. You can see the pikemen are moving forwards ever so slowly here. This is not good for me. I don't really want to engage there. Also over here, I managed to sneak my cavalry through, but I was microwaving in other areas of the battlefield, and you can see that I am playing with my cavalry really terribly here. Granted, they are just equites, but I did try to get a cheeky rear charge onto the Bactrian pikeman, but he was well aware of what I was doing there and managed to get his pikemen turned around. I was really hoping that Egypt would be on hand to fire some peel into the backs of them, but at that point I did notice that they had pulled their lines back almost completely. And this is where I worried a bit about my flank. You can see I am moving my elephants forwards. But yeah, my cavalry is kind of in a bit of trouble. We've also got all of the Bactrian Royal Guard Hellenic Cataphract cavalry coming forwards to destroy my equites. So yeah, kind of threw my cavalry away there, which was very unfortunate. Over here, though, I am just pulling back my line. I have no interest in fighting this massive pike line with my infantry. I would just be throwing my infantry away if I charged the Thorac pikeman ranks. You can see the Syrian heavy archers with their arrows firing over and thinning out my Syrian archers. But over here, it looks like a couple units did get caught in melee. I didn't want to open up my flank too much, so I did have to be extremely careful here. But let's actually put it onto play now and kind of take an overview look of what is going on. So if we look over from this side, the Seleucid cavalry hasn't pushed in just yet. We do have some of the noble horse breaking through on... or sorry, no, that's the Tylis noble horse, my apologies. So he's retreating from that melee. But yeah, a lot of the Boii infantry seems to be breaking through the Tylis ranks. Over here as well, there we go, I have disengaged with this one. I'm going to try and pull back here and form a bit of a battle line so that I can get a flanking charge on this Thorac pikeman. And actually, if we put this on slow-mo, yeah, really utilizing my Pila to the best of my abilities there. Look at all of the pikemen that I am able to kill as he is pulling back his men. Very, very awesome to see for me. That's what I want to do. I want to try and kite these pikemen instead of engaging them head-on. Oh, excuse me, head-on. But the Thorac pikemen, they didn't really take the bait, which was unfortunate. I was hoping that they would push against these legionary cohort, and then I would be able to charge in on the flanks with my second unit of cohort there. But my Syrian heavy archers have been obliterated here. This is really not good. I try to get a couple more shots with my Pila before disengaging even further from this pike line, drawing this pike line further into our battle line. Well, let's go ahead and put it back onto play. Only 11 minutes left in this battle, and yes, you can see that Saba is looking pretty worse for wear here. There are a lot of Suebian forces left on this battlefield, and not a lot from Saba. Trying to not zoom in too much when we're on play because it is a bit laggy. There's, as I said, over 20,000 men on this battlefield. And here come the massive Bactrian pike lines moving in to finally see if the Egyptians will actually fight them. Over here as well, you can see again the Seleucids really trying to get into melee with my infantry, but I just am not interested in fighting them. This was a mistake here. I tried to pull them through this gap, my elephants, but they actually ended up going berserk, which was very unfortunate. Thankfully, they did turn around and charge right back in to that pikeman line, though, which is fantastic to see. Over here, the pikemen are holding 3 units of my infantry at bay. You can see that I'm peeling one of them off, and I've got this unit of Thorac pikemen out of position as well. This unit of auxiliary elephants seems to be doing a lot better, though. we put it onto a slow motion. Yeah, I am clipping a few of my units there, but I was going to try and hit the Thorac pikemen from behind. Also, maybe hitting the tribal warriors here and trampling them under my elephants. Nicely done. And this is just a Hastati unit that I have over here holding against these elephants. But yeah, look at those Syrian heavy archers really focusing my elephants down. But this elephant is doing an excellent job against that pike unit. You can see that he came in on this one flank and really started to do some damage before being taken down. Taking a look over here, though, it's bad news bears for Tylis. There are a lot of Boii still left in this battle, and you can see, actually, that the Tylis player is actually starting to withdraw some of his forces from this flank, and that's exactly what we needed. Even the Ajba cavalry is having a lot of trouble here. It's fighting against Levy Freeman. What a cost-effective fight there for Premisal. And again, continually pulling back. At this point, we've almost been divided in two. But it was a risk worth taking, in my opinion, because look at all of the pikemen here that are pulled out of position now. I've got pike units that are being charged from the flanks by my legionary cohort here. I've got my veteran legionaries over here just trying to get around this unit of pikemen and hitting them from behind. But then disaster. You can see that the Seleucid camel spearmen have noticed my legatus, and I actually don't notice this in time, I believe. I think I noticed it a little bit too late, but they actually get a solid charge on the back of my general. Yeah, not good there. Not good to get my legatus caught off guard. I'm quickly getting a legionary cohort unit over there to help. But let's quickly take a look at this last stand here. We've got the Sabins with their Royal Camel archers. They're really kind of holding the Suebians back. The Suebians don't seem to want to push their infantry in for risk of just being kited by those royal archers. Same with Baktria. He's having a real hard time with actually engaging Egypt here. And at this point, yeah, I think that the Mr. President, as the Seleucids, notices that his Tylis ally is pretty much gone at this point, and he starts to withdraw his forces, but not before I take out quite a few of the very expensive Thorac pikemen. You can see even here I pursued a unit of pikemen with my Hastati unit. I just wanted to get them off the battlefield and not allow them to retreat. Over here as well, this one is kind of stuck. It's not going to really be able to retreat. I'm going to line up my Roman legionaries and then charge them from behind. Really exploit the weakness of the phalanx there. Yes, yes, yes. And you can actually just see in the distance, if I zoom in, we've got all the victorious men from the Boii. They are firing with their slingers at this unit of pikemen as well. And look at that! Look at that. What was that? We've got a unit from Egypt coming in, the Galatian swordsmen. So yes, that was our plan, was just to divide and conquer these pikemen. And again, we've just got Egypt and Saba kind of biding their time here, just pulling back. Not engaging the massive pike wall that Baktria has, which I think was very smart. Just allowing the Boii and myself to tie up loose ends over here and then rejoin the battle line. Yeah, you can see we have a very small depleted unit of Thorac pikemen trying to retreat over here, but I believe that is it. And look how healthy the Boii are over here. They've got most of their infantry still remaining. They've got Oathsworn on the battlefield. Premisal even has some very fresh units of noble horse, which would come in come in handy against the Hellenic cataphracts. We've also got the Egyptian African war elephants in here trying to destroy those cataphracts. They are going to attempt to retreat, though. And we do have all of the Royal Camel spearmen over here moving in, and then they are firing at those pikemen, which is such a good use of the Camel spearmen. And then as soon as they see units coming forwards, they will just retreat once again. Same thing over here. We've got some of the Ajuma cavalry over here. Yeah, you can see that he actually tries to sneak through over here, but I was really bent on stopping this unit from getting through, because this unit in behind our lines, I noticed that Premizel was moving up a lot of his Celtic slingers, so I didn't want them to be destroyed, and I just managed to catch the Ajuma cavalry there and stop them from retreating, which was fantastic. So that Ajuma cavalry will be destroyed, and we've got another unit of pikemen. Again, divide and conquer here. We've got one unit of pikemen sitting here all alone, so I've got a unit of Hastati. I'm going to try and surround them. We've also got some noble horse over here from the Boii, so they might be able to get a really solid charge off. We'll have to see what happens there. But there is a little bit of respite at this point now, where the invading armies kind of get themselves together once again. I think they realized that losing the Tylis player wasn't the best. They pretty much lost all of his army as well. He's got like 2 units remaining, whereas the Suebians, the Sabins, still have about four units. Yeah, the rest of them is Boii. But there we go. Yeah, you can see an excellent charge from the noble horse there has destroyed another unit of pikemen. And we've also got like 4 or 5 units over here of pikemen that I want to deal with next. If we can destroy these 5 pikemen, then pretty much it's going to be a 4v2, because that will be pretty much the rest of the Seleucid infantry destroyed as well. Yeah, we've got some Syrian heavy archers moving up here. I don't know what they're trying to focus on, but they're getting way ahead of themselves here. Way ahead of themselves indeed. And yeah, look at all of the Boii slingers here, the Celtic slingers moving forwards. I put a unit of legionary cohort over here just to defend my allies' lines and to help the slingers feel a little bit more safe about firing down upon the pikemen. But it looks like these camel archers still have ammunition too. I just hope he tries to pull them back before engaging them. Come on! Oh, don't let them engage! Don't let them engage! Pull back! I mean, unless he's used up all their ammunition, but still not very cost-effective. Yeah, let's get those boys out of there. We can utilize them later on. Over here as well, looks like we've got camel lancers over here for Saba, just trying to probe the enemy and get them to move forwards once again. But yeah, the Seleucids are looking very, very depleted at this point. They do have, I'd say, 2 fresh units of pikemen and 2 half units of pikemen. But there we go, Egypt finally wanting to nail this pikeman unit down, so they actually locked them in. And now we can have the spear warriors just firing into their flanks. Look at the amount of damage we can do with these Pila. It is absolutely insane. And that unit of pikemen has actually broke. We do have the general for the Seleucids coming in now, though. They're going to challenge the Egyptian Galatian Royal Guard, and I'm going to push my Romans in to try and surround him. You can see we do have the unit of depleted pikemen trying to defend his flank, but it's not going to work. Also over here, it looks like we do have the other 2 units of pikemen. I do send my very depleted unit of Hastati in just to try to lock them in melee for now. We've got some Thurio spears from Baktria coming in to aid them. We've also got the noble horse still very fresh at hand, and we finally have the activation of the remains of the Suebi Club Levy and Swordmasters. I was swallowing a little bit here. I was pretty nervous having to deal with all of the Suebian Club Levy and Swordmasters over here. But I just wanted to try and hold for as long as possible and give my allies a chance to get some really good flanking maneuvers. You can see the pikemen again being completely outflanked by the, we've got Nubian bowmen in the front and then Egyptian infantry around the flanks. So 2 very cheap units here that are taking on quite an expensive unit. Let's take a look over here as all the Suebi charge on in against my Roman infantry. And there we go, the elephants are coming in. Quick, let's put this on slow motion so we can enjoy it a little bit better. Yeah, so Not the best for me. I actually charged them into the backs of my own men there, which was very unfortunate. However, the bulk of the Suebi infantry was in this one blob, and I really wanted to utilize the trample there. You can see a lot of my men are getting up, which is fantastic to see, but I just wanted to push them in over here against all of the Suebi infantry. We even have the Egyptian horsemen coming in, followed by the Boii cavalry as well, trying to break on through the spear ranks. But if we zoom out, you can see, look at the damage here. Like, all 4 units of Club Levy are going to break just from that charge. And I suspect the Swordmasters over here will follow very soon. And again, Tylis having to pull back with their 2 units of cavalry once again. He does have a cheap unit of raiding horsemen tailing the African elephants, but I believe that they are out of ammunition. And we still have a massive battle over here between Bactrian pikemen, Roman legionaries, we've got Boii sword followers, we've got shield bearers, we have Galatian swordsmen. Just a massive all-out battle here in the center. At this point, if we did end up killing the Seleucid general, it wouldn't really have mattered too much, as he doesn't have too many men left on the battlefield. The one we really needed to go after was the Bactrian general, and the Bactrian general is far to the back there, the Bactrian royal cavalry. But there we go, right at almost at the same time, we had the breaking of the Club Levy from the Suebi, and then we've also got a lot of wavering from the Seleucids. So their pikemen are gone there. Their general is looking pretty worse for wear. We've got some more Bactrian Thurio spears breaking as well. And yes, look at this, a huge hit from the Boii noble horse. Such a huge hit, in fact, that not only did they knock down all the sword masters, but they knocked down almost half of my unit of legionary cohort. Such an insane battle here. I'm actually just going to pop this on slow motion again to kind of show you where we came from. So this is the original battle line over here, where most of Tylis was slaughtered by the Boii. And then you can see as the red kind of appears that we've got some of the Romans that started to appear on the battlefield. We've got my blunder with my elephants there, which is unfortunate, but this is where the Seleucids kind of lost a lot of their pikemen. Over behind here, too, you can see from the Boii cavalry that a lot of the Syrian heavy archers were run down and slaughtered. And now we're way over here, pretty much where the battle actually began, which is pretty incredible. Pretty incredible indeed. Let's go ahead and turn it back on for the last minute here, while we've got most of the Boii with their heavy cavalry and infantry flanking around on the right-hand side. We've got a lot of Roman infantry over here as well. I'm just trying to envelop as many as I can. And let's just enjoy a few of these real nice battles where the pikemen are being slaughtered. Roman infantry versus, well, the gladius versus the phalanx, basically. We've even got the cheap Bactrian infantry in there now. Yeah, you can see that the Romans are slaughtering them. Nice job, nice job. That is it. Over here as well, we did have some of the Suebian cavalry breaking through the trees. We also got the Tylis general there with the noble horse. He's just trying to do as much damage as possible, running through some of the Saban mercenaries. But there's just too many of us at this point for them to be able to save this defeat. Look at all the units that are actually breaking here. Incredible. I even still have some of my war elephants charging on through and just causing havoc in the Bactrian ranks. And there we go, a costly victory, but a victory over the pikemen. Let's go ahead and take a look at the end results. Alright guys, let's take a look at the end result screen before we do end this epic battle. And let's take a look at who was fighting who. So obviously Premisal as the Boii, he was going up against Tylis. So good kills on the Oathsworn. These sword followers doing very good. Almost all of them getting over 200 kills. Axe Warriors 347, that is insane. And then his 2 units of cavalry, the Noble Horse, doing very well there. Looking at Tylis, he did quite well with his noble horse, but the raiding horsemen didn't do too much damage. I guess with their javelins, that's actually not too bad to get 50-odd kills between them. His cheaper infantry didn't do too well, though, and the Oathsworn not getting too many kills. Then again, I guess Premisal's Oathsworn kills are comparable here. Just not enough kills like these, the Axe Warriors and the Sword Followers. I think that is what won it for Premisal. Taking a look at my army versus Mr. President's army here. So yeah, really mitigating a lot of the potential kills that these pikemen can get. The most is 195 there. Syrian heavy archers not doing too badly, but the cavalry not doing well at all. Meanwhile, for me, one of my elephants, yeah, getting slaughtered very early on, but the second one did get 425 kills, which isn't too bad. My Hastati here, 153. I still don't know how they got that many kills. And then a pretty mixed bag for my infantry here, but I think they did just enough damage. Even this unit of veteran legionary, so 321 is not too bad. Elephantos versus Zurokamu Kora, I think is how you pronounce it. Apologies if I'm mispronouncing that. But some of his Hellenic cataphracts did pretty well there. Infantry, not so much. Then again, 2 of his pikemen did get 150 kills apiece, but the rest of the pikemen didn't get many kills at all. So, yeah, it does pay to kind of kite and retreat and not fight the pikemen head on there. Good kills with his elephants, not too bad between them, and they still were pretty healthy towards the end, which is nice. 200 with that Galatian swordsman, very nice there. Egyptian infantry with 80, I mean, that's very cheap units, that's pretty good. And then finally, Irvan 12 versus Pyrrhus as Saba. So Saba, where were there... Yeah, okay, yeah, good kills on the Royal Camel Archers there, 238, that's very nice to see. And his mercenary warriors, actually, most of them getting over 100 kills, which isn't too bad. And Noble Swordsman, this one got slaughtered, but 100 kills there isn't the worst. And looking at the Suebi, cavalry didn't get too many kills, Cimbri bowwomen didn't get too many kills, Swordmasters, 200 and 191 is pretty good, but these two... They must have got caught out, because usually Swordmasters get more kills than that. The Club Levy really did not fare well, though, and neither did the Spear Wall. But that is it for today's battle, guys. I hope you did enjoy. Be sure to like, comment, and subscribe if you'd like to see more content like this in the future. And as always, I will see you in the next one.